Welcome back. So, last time we were talking about anti-purgatory.
Right, that sort of waiting area
Yeah.
for souls who put off repenting until, well, the last minute.
Yeah, exactly. And the big takeaway was this mix of God's mercy, but also the need for grace and, well, patience, really. Lots of patience.
Absolutely. Transformation takes time. It's not just flipping a switch. There's often a waiting period involved.
And that idea of a journey, that's what we're picking up on today. We're diving back into the Purgatorio, specifically Canto 4.
Canto 4, yeah.
Our mission, if you like, is to see what we can pull out of this canto that speaks to our own lives, practical stuff.
And Canto 4 really highlights something very human, doesn't it? Getting lost in the moment, losing time.
Totally. Dante gets deep into conversation with Manfred, remember him?
Oh, yeah, compelling figure.
And he gets so engrossed, he just loses all track of time. We've all done that, haven't we?
Definitely. You're focused on something, a conversation, a task.
And boom, hours are gone. Just vanished.
And for Dante, the clue is the sun. It's suddenly in a completely different place in the sky.
Which makes you think, right, how often are we so focused, maybe too focused, that we miss the bigger picture changing around us?
That's a good point. Needing that focus, but also needing some awareness of, well, everything else.
So eventually they snap out of it and start this climb, and Dante really makes a point of how hard it is.
Oh, it's brutal. Steep, rocky,
Yeah.
not exactly a gentle slope.
No. But then Virgil says something pretty profound.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
The more one climbs, the less it hurts.
That just resonates, doesn't it? Think about starting anything difficult, a new job, exercise, breaking a habit.
That first push is always the toughest. It feels like you're fighting uphill constantly.
But Virgil's point is that if you keep going, it actually gets, well, less painful.
Yeah.
Easier, maybe.
Yeah, persistence pays off. The resistance lessens, you build momentum. It's like the effort itself starts to diminish somehow.
But even with that encouragement, Dante needs a break. He has to stop and rest during the climb.
Which is realistic. You can't just power through constantly.
And it's during this rest stop that he notices something odd, the sun.
Right. It seems to be moving the wrong way, left instead of right.
Exactly. And Virgil explains it, astronomy, southern hemisphere, all that.
Which is interesting in itself, but the metaphor.
The metaphor, yeah. What's the takeaway for us? Maybe it's about the value of actually taking that pause.
Stepping back, yeah, looking at your own climb from a different angle.
When you're just focused on putting one foot in front of the other, you might miss things. Shifts in perspective.
Pausing lets you observe, recalibrate maybe, gain new understanding.
It's like hitting pause on your own life sometimes. So while they're resting, or just after, they hear this voice.
Oh yeah, the sarcastic one. Perhaps you'll need to sit down before.
Yeah. And they find this group of souls, and among them is Belacqua.
Ah, Belacqua, the famously lazy lute-maker from Florence.
He's sitting there. The poem basically calls his posture an emblem of sloth.
He seems quite content in his inactivity,
Yeah.
but still sharp, Got that dry wit.
Definitely. So what's his deal? Why is he just sitting there?
Well, he's the embodiment of putting things off. He delayed his repentance until the very, very end of his life.
Right. So now the consequence is waiting.
Exactly. He has to wait in anti-purgatory for the same amount of time he lived on Earth before he can even start the proper purification process.
Wow. That's a long wait.
It's a stark lesson, isn't it? Procrastination on spiritual growth, or any personal growth really, has real costs. It delays everything.
But Belacqua also mentions something else interesting about prayers.
Yeah. That prayers from people still living, devout people, can actually shorten his waiting time.
Which points to this idea of connection, right?
Community,
Yeah.
spiritual solidarity, you could call it. How we're all linked and how positive actions like prayer can ripple outwards and help others, even indirectly.
So even on our own individual journeys, we're not totally alone. Others can support us.
Absolutely. It's a reminder of that wider web of connection. Empathy matters.
And despite Belacqua being, well, the definition of indolent.
He knows why he's there. He's not kidding himself.
Right. He's got this clear self-awareness about his situation, his own laziness.
And that's crucial, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even if you're stuck, knowing why you're stuck, being aware of your own failings. That's the first step.
You can't change something if you don't even recognize it in yourself. So self-awareness, even in Belacqua's case, is key.
Definitely. It's the prerequisite for any kind of improvement.
Yeah.
Recognizing the issue.
And just looping back quickly to Dante being surprised by the sun, it feels like a nudge about our own assumptions, our mental maps.
Oh, for sure. We all have these set ideas about how things should work.
And then reality throws us a curveball, like the sun moving the wrong way.
And you have to be willing to adjust your thinking,
Yeah.
right? To accept that maybe your understanding wasn't complete.
To challenge those internal biases and expectations, that's essential for growth too, isn't it? Being open to things not fitting our neat little boxes.
Vital. Otherwise, you just get stuck in your own limited view.
So looking back at this Canto 4 deep dive, we've got the initial struggle of starting something new, but the promise it gets easier.
The virtue of patience.
Yeah.
Waiting when necessary.
The power of community and how others can help, even from afar.
The absolute need for self-awareness. Seeing ourselves clearly.
Being ready to question our own perspectives, our mental schemes.
And it all fits under that big theme. Purgatory as this amazing metaphor for our own lives. The challenges, the rest, the people we meet, the lessons learned.
But really is timeless wisdom packed in there.
Constantly relevant.
So maybe a final thought for you listening right now. Think about a climb you're on at the moment. Could be anything. Where could a small pause, a moment of reflection give you a totally new perspective? And are there any mental schemes, any assumptions you hold that might need a second look to help you move forward with maybe a bit less spiritual fatigue?
Good question to ponder.
Well, thank you for joining us on this exploration, our 38th deep dive.
Always a pleasure.
We're definitely looking forward to the next one and seeing what insights we uncover then.